interested in getting to the bottom of what happened than the president is. No one is more interested in bringing to justice those who took the lives of 4 Americans that night than the president. And the president is very interested in having the results of those investigations provided to him and to the American public.
Of course, that was White House spokesperson Jay Carney speaking on the Benghazi terror attack at a press conference earlier today. Now, with Benghazi follow-up, Iran attacks on U.S. drones, and of course this latest Petraeus bombshell, Obama's foreign policy challenges are deepening. For more on this, let's bring in Breitbart.com editor-at-large Ben Shapiro. He joins us live from Los Angeles. Good to have you back on the show, Ben. I have been watching your tweets, been reading them. You are convinced David Petraeus' resignation isn't really about his philandering. Why?
Well, you know, in the United States, it seems that we have a history of politicians who philander and then don't resign. Usually it's when their philandering is uncovered that they resign. There's been no hint of that. Bill Clinton did things that were significantly worse than David Petraeus, and he remained president of the United States. Ted Kennedy killed a woman and remained a senator from the United States. So the idea that David Petraeus is resigning because of an affair that nobody knew about is absurd. He's doing it the week before he was supposed to testify before the House on Benghazi. He's doing it 2 days after the election ended. That timing is not coincidental. Today is the same day that President Obama revealed that the Interior Department is going to fence off 1.6 million acres from oil shale drilling. This is the same day that President Obama revealed that he is not going to accept any deal on the sequester that does not include massive tax hikes. And this is the same week that the president has revealed that Eric Holder may be stepping down. He's clearing out all of the people who may be most troublesome to him. There are only 2 people who are really troublesome to him when it comes to the Benghazi issue: Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who will be gone, and David Petraeus, CIA director, who is now gone. And on Fast and Furious, there's only one guy who's troublesome to him, so troublesome, in fact, that the Obama administration had to invoke executive privilege to protect him: Eric Holder, Attorney General, who will also be gone. This is what the Obama administration does. They hide it from the American public until the election. As soon as the election's over, they clean house.
Now, I just want to challenge you for 1 second. Petraeus would not admit to an affair that he wasn't guilty of. And I'm not sure he couldn't be blackmailed into admitting an affair, since the only way you could blackmail him is by offering to hide the affair, to keep it hidden. He's put it out there in the open. Maybe, just maybe, for once everything is as it appears, and Petraeus felt guilty. He was overcome by guilt and he came clean.
I would believe that, except this is all a little bit too convenient. I would suggest instead not that he was blackmailed with the affair, which, as you say, it came out, so the blackmail failed if that was real, but that there is actual culpability for David Petraeus and for the CIA in the Benghazi situation, and he didn't want to testify in front of Congress, and so he wanted to get President Obama through the election cycle, being a loyal employee, and then he wanted to step down so he didn't have to go in front of Congress. Now it's up to Congress to subpoena him, and Congress probably won't do it.
I want to get your thoughts on Iran's attacks on the U.S. Drone over the Persian Gulf. President Obama has backed more sanctions. Is that a reasonable response?
No. What is a reasonable response is shutting the Straits of Hormuz, right, and actually stopping their ability to ship oil out of the country. The idea of the sanctions has been crippling. Look, it's created massive inflation in the country. It's created severe economic problems. The problem is it's a dictatorship. And like most dictatorships, they don't care how many of their people have to die. They don't care how much suffering has to happen in order for them to achieve their end goals. The Iranian regime still has not stopped developing nuclear weapons. And President Obama's administration hid the fact that the Iranians were attacking U.S. drones 3 or 4 days before the actual election because they didn't want it to get out that the sanctions simply aren't doing what they're supposed to do, which is force them to shut down their nuclear program. It's the one and only reason, by the way, that the sanctions exist, and it's the one and only thing that has failed with regard to the sanctions.
What does it tell Tehran when they shoot at a U.S. drone, unmanned drone, and the only response from the White House really is, we don't like this and we back more sanctions? What's the message to Tehran?
It's pathetic. It's pathetic. The immediate response was a protest through the Swiss consulate. I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it. We've had situations like this in the past in the United States. An American plane crashing in China, that became an international incident. Obviously, in 1960, a U-2 plane, observance surveillance plane from the United States being shot down in Russia. That was an international incident. This is an international incident, but it was hidden at the same time that it was being leaked to the press that the Obama administration was going to meet with Iran and that Iran was going to stop developing nuclear weapons, 20% enriched uranium, uranium. They were going to stop doing that. All of that turned out to be nonsense. That was the only thing the American public was hearing in the run-up to the election, and it turns out that simultaneous to that, the Iranians were actually trying to shoot down U.S. military assets in what is technically an act of war.
I just want to get some quick thoughts on this. We don't have too much more time, but the fiscal cliff has some geopolitical implications, especially if all those defense cuts go through. What are some of the implications for you?
Well, the implications are massive. They're talking about basically a 20% across-the-board defense cut. This is something that President Obama wanted. He wanted to leverage the Republican Congress into absorbing tax rises in order to prevent tax cuts. What he doesn't count on is the fact that now he's the president. Whatever happens is going to redound to him. If we hit the fiscal cliff, it's going to be President Obama and his Democrats in Congress who pay the price, not a Republican Congress, which is simply saying to the American people, look, we're not going to be blackmailed into raising your taxes.
All right, Ben Shapiro in Los Angeles, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.